Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for rejoining us. For those of you that I haven't met, I'm Alan from Mindroom, and it is my great pleasure today to introduce Richard Lochhead, who is the Minister for Just Transition, Employment and Fair Work, and the Member of Scottish Parliament for Moray. So, Mr Lochhead, I'll invite you to take the stage.
Hello. Thank you very much, Alan, for the brief introduction there, and it's a delight to come along here today and say a few brief words to you at this very prestigious event. I understand there is around 24 different countries represented in the audience, lots of nods. So welcome to Scotland, welcome to Scotland's capital city, Edinburgh, where the sun shines 365 days a year, as hopefully you'll notice. And as Alan just said there, I'm here in my capacity, obviously, as a minister today, but I'm also the MSP for Moray, an area that your chair is very familiar with. And make sure before you leave Edinburgh and Scotland that you enjoy our national drink of Scotch whisky. You can't come here without tasting that before you leave. And of course, I'm biased because my constituency represents 60% of Scotch whisky production. So one of the joys of my job is representing about 45 whisky distilleries as my job as an MSP. But today, I'm really pleased to be here with my ministerial hat on and say just a few words about the important agenda that you're talking about during this, as I said, very prestigious event. So just to put it very simply, just to kick us off, the Scottish Government's ambition is to ensure that all people in Scotland who are neurological divergent have the same opportunities as everyone else in our society. And here in Scotland, we want to live in a society in which neurodivergent people are not only respected as individuals, but one where they can and do contribute positively to our society, and a view that, of course, all of you will share as you meet here today. And I want to take the opportunity to thank Mindroom for bringing together experts in neurodiversity from around the world for this conference, and to acknowledge all of your amazing, fantastic achievements over the last 22 years of neurodivergent young people and their families across Scotland. Now, the Scottish Government at the moment is focused on supporting those furthest from the labour market to progress further and towards enter and sustain employment, including autistic people and other neurodivergent people as well. And we are going to do all we can to provide as much of the support that's required as possible. Now, employment support for disabled people is part of our devolved remit here in Scotland as part of the Scottish Parliament, where we've got a devolved Parliament, and it will continue to be delivered through our devolved employability services, where we have some powers in Scotland over employability services. Employment law and regulation is reserved to the UK Government, but in terms of employability services for people who are perhaps that bit further from the labour market, we do have responsibility here in Scotland. And we deliver that through No One Left Behind, which is the overall policy in its name, and Fair Start Scotland, which is a partner to that, where we deliver many of our services. And we firmly believe that participants must remain at the heart of all that we do, and that they feel empowered to play an active and ongoing role in shaping the services that they access. So that's why here in Scotland we're seeing a move away from inflexible national programmes to a person-led approach, where support is specifically tailored to meet the needs of the individual. So our support now is more flexible and it's more responsive to the changing labour market. It's about tackling inequalities, and of course it's also about growing Scotland's economy at the same time. And participants engage with their employability services voluntarily, and they're not driven to take part by the fear of benefit sanctions, which happens elsewhere, but in Scotland we've avoided that approach. So as part of that, the Scottish Government has, for instance, set up a workplace equality fund to help reduce employment inequalities, discrimination and barriers for minority ethnic people, women and disabled people and older workers. There are 13 projects at the moment funded through the current Workplace Equality Fund, with over £750,000 worth of funding in the first year of what's a 2-year fund. Now, Salveson's Neuro Inclusion at Work is one of the 4 projects whose focus is on disability. And I had the really enjoyable opportunity just recently to meet with the project and learned of the great work that they're taking forward under the stewardship of Alan in raising awareness of neurodiversity in the workplace. Increasing employment rates amongst disabled people through tackling inequalities in our labour market can not only create a fairer and more equal society, but as I said previously, it is also importantly a way in which we can help boost Scotland's economic performance as well. Disabled people's employment rates have improved over time in Scotland, increasing from 42.8% in 2016 to 49.6% in 2021. That amounts to around 407,000 disabled people in employment in Scotland, already making a significant contribution to our country's labour force. We recognise the importance of good transitions for young people in particular, and so we are going to introduce Scotland's first national transitions to adulthood strategy in this parliamentary term as well. And that will ensure a joined-up approach to supporting disabled young people as they make the transition to adult life. In Scotland, we are currently focusing on a number of other key priorities as well to improve the lives of neurodivergent people, and I just want to say a few things about that in a moment. So, for instance, we provide funding for an Autism National Post-Diagnostic Support Service pilot scheme, which was launched in December 2020. And that pilot is designed in conjunction with autistic people and autism support organisations to support initial support following an autism diagnosis. A permanent scheme will be established from next financial year, which is just a few weeks away, well, a couple of weeks away, and that will be supported by £1 million annually, and it won't be diagnostic dependent. So we believe that recognises the vital role of support to help people understand autism and to understand the adjustments they may have to make and that they need from others as well in our society to help them fulfil their potential. And the Scottish Government believes that the voices of people with real-life experience is absolutely vital to all of our work. Our leadership and engagement model has led to some original initiatives, which has seen us working directly with individuals with lived experience over the last 18 months to develop policy around mental health support. Autistic people and people with learning disabilities have been central to that work. So this new way of working puts people's voices and their experiences firmly at its heart. Another aspect the Scottish Government is committed to is preventing the harm caused by alcohol consumption during pregnancy, while supporting those impacted by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. So we also provide funding to the Fetal Alcohol Advisory Support and Training Team to allow the delivery and training to improve knowledge of and attitudes towards and confidence in professionals working with individuals with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. And as an MSP for Murray, I've got constituents who've contacted me looking for that kind of support, so I know how important it is. We're also undertaking a critical programme of work titled Coming Home, which is based on a report issued in 2018 that seeks to tackle the issue of people with a learning disability and complex needs who find themselves unnecessarily spending long periods of time in hospital or in placements far from home. So we're addressing this as a matter of urgency with a commitment to improve that position by March 2024. And finally, I want to mention the Learning, Disability, Autism and Neurodiversity Bill. Again, the Scottish Government's got more actions in the pipeline, and we're committed to introducing that bill to ensure that the rights of all neurodivergent people are respected and protected. The bill was fully co-designed with people with lived experience. The bill will potentially seek to establish a National Commissioner for Neurodivergent People. We believe that's the first of its kind, and that's about protecting people's rights. So it's a pretty exciting development that has the potential to make a real difference to the lives of neurodivergent people in our society here in Scotland. So I know you're discussing some of these issues and lots of other really important issues on this agenda. And as the Minister for Employment, Fair Work and Just Transition in Scotland, I've learned a lot about the issues you're talking about and facing in your lives and workplaces in my year and a half in this post. And I really appreciate how it's such an important agenda. And tackling it the right ways, of course, is about a win-win situation. It's about helping people who are neurodivergent and all the people that you want to help and support, but also for Scotland as a country, as a nation, It's great for our country, for everyone to make their own contributions. And of course, it's great for our economy to ensure that everyone who's got the opportunity, who wants to have that opportunity, can contribute towards our economy here in Scotland and improve their own lives and be much more self-fulfilled at the same time. So thanks for inviting me to come along and say a few words, just a few words to contribute towards your conference today. It's our ongoing aim to make sure Scotland is a better place to live for neurodivergent people. And I just want to finish by reaffirming the Scottish Government's commitment to continue to work towards these ideals now and in the years ahead. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Minister, thanks very much. It's a pleasure to have you. We'll thank the Minister in the usual way, which is, now, let me get this right, flap applause. That's right. I've been doing it. I can't quite get the term right.